So, Charlotte, you've driven all the way from Grantham.
I have.
And I started seeing some of your content on TikTok. It's holistic medicine type
healing.
stuff. Holistic healing.
Yeah.
When did you start it? Why did you start that?
My TikTok or the journey?
Whatever.
Both.
All of it.
Oh, okay. So my holistic journey, I started about 5-6 years ago because I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Okay.
I was also...
Which is what? I hear this all the time on things. Does this help with fibromyalgia? What exactly is it?
So it's a chronic pain disorder disease.
Yeah.
So your entire body is in constant pain. It's different variations. So some days you can be okay. You can be sat here but in pain, but it's bearable pain. So you learn to live with it. It becomes a normal. But then you can have flare-ups where you're in excruciating pain. So even just being in bed with a duvet, just a sheet touching you is painful. It feels tender and sore. Constantly fatigued. You wake up feeling like you've not even been to sleep. You get brain fog. So you're just constantly like fuzzy-headed, don't remember your own name, don't know what you're doing, like constantly. There's loads of different symptoms. IBS is one of them as well. I used to wake up in the night with like, I could only describe as being stabbed in the arm with a boiling hot poker and the pain radiating down your arms. Your hands will just open. There's so many different symptoms to it. So yeah, I was diagnosed with that after years of going backwards and forwards to the doctors. They were doing blood tests it's a process of elimination is how they give the diagnosis. So they test you for all other things, and then if you're all clear on everything else, then they're like, okay, there you go, you've got fibromyalgia.
Can you remember back in the day when people used to get diagnosed with something called, was it ME?
Yes.
Which again was one of those kind of, we've tested everything, we don't really know what's wrong, so we're going to lump it into this.
100%.
So it's similar to that because, again, and I don't know if it's just because I'm naive or because social media is massive now and that's all we're watching, I'd never heard of fibromyalgia maybe 5 years ago. Never heard of it. So maybe it's just that. So is there a cure for it?
Well, no. If you're in the doctors, they just constantly give you different medications. So you have pill after pill after pill.
Yeah.
And they warn you when they give it to you, it's probably not going to help, you'll need something else. Mm-hmm. So they're just constantly giving you more and more. And for me, it was a case of they'd give you a concoction of something, wait a little bit, and then you'd get new symptoms that you'd need new medications for. And it was just that constant vicious circle. So they said they don't know a lot about it. They don't know what triggers it. They don't know the causes. They don't know how you can heal it. They literally know nothing about it.
And what is it? Is it an inflammation type?
Apparently not.
No.
But I went alkaline, did like an anti-inflammatory kind of diet, and that was a huge part of my healing. Right. But I believe that's because I started healing my gut. So your gut is like your second brain.
Yes.
So when you heal your gut, everything else follows.
Yeah.
So that's what I believe. But then there's so much research now. Like there's some research that shows it's autoimmune. There is some research that shows it's connected to your gut health. There are others that show it's connected to your diet. There's some that shows it's connected to stress and traumas. And that's how I went into the holistic approach. So I was taking everything and healing everything, if you like.
And are you completely... Completely?
Yeah, well, I've not had any flare-ups or any symptoms for over 4 years, almost 5 years. But I'm aware of my body now and my triggers. Yes. So like last year, I had different weekends away. And on those weekends away, I would completely out of routine. So I'd eat junk food, I'd drink alcohol, I'd have everything you shouldn't have. And then on the way home, I'd be starting to feel awareness again of my body. Not pain how it used to be, but just an awareness. So as soon as I felt that awareness, I knew that could be the start of something. So I instantly stop it in its tracks so it's never flared into anything. So,
wow. Yeah. So my brother, he was down here the other day. His son, he's 24, 25 now. So he was on the tracks to becoming a professional footballer. He was played for a club called Ilkeston Town, went through their academy, had trials with Derby County. So he was a very good footballer, but then got something called ulcerative colitis.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, sort of a horrendous IBS, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they went down the medical route. Doctors were, yes, it's IBS. Try this steroid, try that steroid. Nothing worked, and he went painfully thin. He was on here the other night, and I think he said to me he went down to about 6 stone. Now, this lad is taller than me, so he's about 6'1". He's very athletic. So he's probably sitting at around about 14 stone now. So for him to go down to, he looked like a skeleton. And the doctors essentially said, look, there's nothing more we can do for him. So he wasn't playing football, he wasn't able to work. So his mum went down this route of looking for alternative methods of treatment, and they came across an American chap whose wife had gone through this, and he'd sort of cured her by a little bit like what you were saying, trial and error with different foods. And so I think they paid, it was a lot of money they paid for him, but they got this sort of personal service. And through this process of elimination of certain things, he's now 100% better.
Absolutely.
He's playing football again. I think he's going to get signed up by a big club quite soon, because he's doing very well at about 2 levels down from like League 2 stuff. So she went down this route, and subsequently now they're very anti everything.
Yeah, me too.
So they were very much, none of them got vaccinated.
Yep.
But they've been down many rabbit holes.
They all link up.
They
all link up. When you start going down one, it takes you down a lot.
Yeah. Which is, have you read The Real Dr. Fauci?
No, but I do know a lot about him. I've looked into him before.
It's unbelievable. Now, whether what he's saying is 100% accurate or not, if it isn't, he would have been sued a long time ago.
Yep.
So on my TikTok channel, I quite often like to challenge these conspiracy theorists, because I think you can, if you're not intelligent enough to be able to decipher between what somebody that's spent their entire life studying is telling you compared to a bricklayer from Hull who watched a documentary on the earth being flat and now all of a sudden is an expert on it, or a little bit like when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden everybody was, professors of endocrinology and, all of these things, and you're thinking, hang on a second, you've just watched a couple of things. Now, so I like to challenge these people, but yeah, that book's a good one. It really is an eye-opener. And yeah,
I think it's good to challenge, because then you can see things from both points of view then, don't you? So then you can make your own decision up and look into what you like for yourself, whereas rather than just accepting what you're told instantly.
Yeah.
Which is why I started looking at things differently
Yes.
to what we are told is normal or the right thing.
Well, ultimately, and I was listening to, it's a really good episode. It's the latest Joe Rogan, and it's by a left-wing political kind of guy. Pull it up, see who it is, Ben. And he goes into talking an awful lot about a lot of these things. And ultimately, the doctors are essentially paying or being paid to put you onto medication.
Yep.
Dave Smith. So that's the latest one. Really good.
They're legal drug dealers.
They're legal drug dealers. They are legal drug dealers. And I've been fortunate enough in the past with my tennis to teach a few doctors, and they will prescribe you a drug that, and I don't know if this is absolutely factual, but they're on a tiered commission system. So they'll go, right, try this one then, Charlotte. And that one doesn't work. So then they go down the line, and it might be that the cheapest one was the one that was going to work, but they go through this because it earns them money.
Yeah.
And they've got targets, and they're getting wined and dined by pharmaceutical companies.
Absolutely.
And it's, I say to people, the biggest conspiracy is money.
Yeah.
Wherever there's money, there's corruption.
Absolutely.
And whatever it is that you're looking at, just follow the money. Whether it's politicians, whether it's big pharma, whether it's whatever, who's earning the money, and it's them that are controlling the narrative.
I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I've learned over the last, years since I went holistic.
Yes.
Absolutely. Especially with the doctors as well.
Yep.
I have big issues with them.
But again, there are good doctors out there.
Yeah, I've been
that
told.
mean well.
I've never met any myself. Family.
I think sometimes what we forget is they are probably medicated themselves.
Yeah, this is true.
They are in debt.
That's
they are
crazy, isn't
having
it?
family problems.
Yeah.
They've gone through all of this. They're just normal people. And we've both had shit days at work, and you can't be arsed with it. And it's like, whatever. Let's just get this person in and out as quick as we can so I can get back and have a glass of wine. And I think sometimes we hold these teachers and doctors and politicians to a different standard, and we think that they're different to everybody else, but really they're not. But I don't know if they mean harm.
I was going to say, is that because they like to think they are? Because they do. Well, in my experience, like I was a dental nurse for 13 years, and as a dental nurse, when you worked with different dentists, you could see who were the old school dentists who thought they were far superior than as mere nurses, but then you had the newer dentists whose approach to dentistry was different, I suppose, and they knew that they couldn't do their job without the dental nurse. Yeah. So they respected us and they were nice, decent people. Whereas the old school dentists, they were even vile to the patients. I remember we had this old school dentist and he was putting a band around a tooth for a fill-in and the patient coughed. So he literally took it out of their mouth and threw it across the room and walked out. And I was just sat there like, what do I do now? I was like, really sorry. But that's the kind of superiority they think they are. Well, a lot of them.
Were they not just shitty people?
Yeah, I guess. Maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, actually, now you said that, maybe, because there was a lady dentist I worked with as well who was similar age and similar era to the male one, and she was lovely. She was the nicest lady you could meet. So, yeah, maybe you're right.
I think there's just shitty people.
Yeah. But
there's good people and shitty people. And, yeah, I think sometimes it can just be as simple as that. I always come back to, when I'm arguing with these flat earthers or whatever, whatever the next conspiracy theory is, Nasara Jisara is going to come out, whatever. I say to them, there's this thing, and I don't know who sort of coined the phrase, but it's called Arkhams Razer. And Arkhams Razer is generally the most simple explanation is usually the correct one.
Yeah.
So if I look outside now and I see an aeroplane fall out of the sky, I'm not automatically going to jump to that's been laser targeted by a UFO from the star system Sirius, and it's come. I'm going to go, okay, engine malfunction, possibly, terrorist attack, possibly, pilot error. 99 times out of 100, it's probably going to be one of those three things.
Yeah.
And I think that grounds me quite a lot, because I was into conspiracy theory before conspiracy theory was even a thing.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, wasn't it? It was named conspiracy theories by CIA to dismiss conspiracy theory.
Is what they say, yes. And again, I don't know if that's 100% factual, but yes, it's now a derogatory term, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've looked into the one big thing for me that opened my eyes up to how much nonsense is out there was I read an awful lot of books and looked at a lot of things that say that the Holocaust was a lie.
Okay.
It was all fake, it was staged and this, that and the other. I've been to Auschwitz.
Yeah.
That is not a lie.
Yeah.
That happened. And the reason I know that happened is because you cannot fake the feeling of death.
Energy.
And the energy. There are no birds flying over there.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It is... If somebody would have put you there blindfolded, you would immediately know you were somewhere, something terrible has happened.
Yeah.
So I still see people on podcasts arguing the Holocaust never happened, it was all propaganda. No, it didn't. So if somebody can be as vocal and animated in their beliefs that didn't happen, what else can people get animated about? And this and that and the other. So that for me was... I looked into all the 9/11 conspiracies, and some of the stuff is so compelling, and it's so compelling. But when you're listening to somebody about something, so I could sit here right now and convince you of something in the tennis world that you would fully believe, and it could be a complete pack of lies, because I can use terminology and reference things that I'm assuming you're not a tennis player.
No, I'm not.
And it would be completely convincing. So when somebody's coming at you from a position of education in a certain area that you're not, it's so easy to convince people that that's true. I've seen flat earth documentaries. I'm thinking, yeah, you're making a very, very good point there, because I don't understand this. But then when you listen to somebody arguing with them that actually knows and go, hang on a second, no, that's not how that works, you very quickly start to see arguments fall into pieces. So I would say I'm now just bang in the middle. Bang in the middle.
We'll open another one for you. What about a Inside Earth?
Inside Earth?
Because there was that pilot, wasn't there? I can't remember his name. I think it was Burns.
Admiral Byrd.
That's the one. And he saw this inner Earth and asked to go in, and then all that's just... He died when he come back, and then all of a sudden all of the countries around the world
Let's think about Arkhams Razer.
Okay, yeah. I'm open to it.
What's most likely to have happened? He told a few lies.
Potentially.
To maybe swoo a few ladies.
Maybe.
Or he was off his head.
That's another one.
Or it never happened.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen those Chinese whispers videos?
Oh, yes,
where
I have.
somebody will start there, but it can be just an action or something. And you've only got to go 100 people deep, and what you end up with is not what it started out to be. So, hollow Earth theory, I'm not convinced, because magnetic fields don't work on a hollow Earth. Okay. And it is very obvious that we have a magnetic field on planet Earth. Yeah. It's why compasses work. It's why solar radiation is not bombarding the planet and killing it and whatnot. And that has to happen with an iron core, which is spinning and creating a magnetic field. But
what about that other one? Haven't they just found in an old cave in China? They've found like trees and everything growing down. I don't think that's not recent. There are cave systems that are their own ecosystems. Yeah. Of course they are. How do they have trees when there's no sun there? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe there is. There has to be, doesn't there, for photosynthesis to work? But again, when we're talking about, and this is what I say to people that believe in the flat Earth. They're like, well, I can't see the curve, and you're like, no, you have no idea how massive the Earth is. You couldn't possibly see the curve. It's massive. And the same thing, if you dig down to the depth that those caves are, we're probably talking less than a millimetre in comparison to the actual depth of the Earth. So, no, I don't believe that the Earth's hollow. No, I don't know which yet. I haven't made a firm decision on what we are. I think belief is a difficult one. I think people that believe things are unable to change their mind if given other evidence. Yeah. And I am not that kind of person. If aliens came and landed on the White House lawn tomorrow, then my belief that probably 99.9% of all of the alien bits and bobs is bullshit would change. Yeah. Whereas I think some people are so stuck in their belief system that even when presented with facts, they just go. So I did a podcast the other week, and a few days before it, I was watching a documentary, and Google have managed to map the seabed. Okay. So with not 100% accuracy, but through, they're like sort of 80% accurate. So that they've got this sort of, how they've done it with land, and they know how tall the buildings are and the mountains and this, that, and the other. They've used a process where they send almost a sonar beam down to the surface of the water. And again, it's another one of these things that flat earthers come up with. They say, well, water always finds a level. Yeah, that's one of their arguments. Yeah. It doesn't. And Google have used the fact that it doesn't to map the bottom of the ocean. So you've got these, so when there's something extremely deep, the water is sitting slightly lower there compared to peaks and troughs. So they're using this sonar to actually measure the differences in the height of the water to then give them an understanding of what's below it and how deep the trenches are and where these are. So water doesn't actually find level. It just looks like it finds a level when we're looking at something in a container that's this big. It's got nowhere else to go, hasn't it?
Say again?
It's got nowhere else to go then, though, has it?
It's got nowhere else to go.
I suppose if you put a stone in it, what happens to it?
I would imagine from what they've said that there will be this almost imperceivable.
Just where that stone.
Just where that stone is. Yeah, but I don't think we will be able to see it. I think it's tiny. But people say water finds a level. Well, if you put a drop of water on the table, it makes a. It's that's not level. True. Makes a circle.
Yeah, that's true.
What shape do bubbles make?
Yeah.
A sphere, a circle. So there are lots of things that it can sound compelling, but a lot of the time it's just people misinterpreting or not understanding mathematics and distances and things like that. And people say, well, why don't the stars move? If the stars are all moving, why have they not moved? They are moving. But it takes thousands of years for us to notice it because they're so far away. But yeah, everything's moving and everything's moving at the same time. It's not that they're moving that way one day and we're moving this way and then the next day they change, but everything's moving. So, but coming back to the, the pharmaceutical and that lot, there's money to be made.
Oh, yeah.
There's no money to be made in telling the earth that the world's flat.
Yeah.
Or that the world's a sphere.
But then could it be that then you kind of, because we're told that we're just we've just happened here and that we have no superiority and that we're just here to work 9 till 5 and do this and do that. Whereas if we were on a plane, just saying, because I haven't decided either way, I don't know yet. But if we're in a plane, then maybe we're placed here and maybe we're more powerful than we believe. And you don't know. Could there be something like that? Because like back in the olden days, in the original maps, it was different to how it would be now. And when you're looking at flight logs or flight things like that, it wouldn't make sense, some of their flight logs, their flight paths on a globe, because they're taking a 20-hour journey that could actually be 10 on a... Like things like that makes you think, well, why? Why would they do that?
But have you ever spoken to a pilot that does it?
Well, I've seen videos of people speaking to pilots and the pilots, because they have the nose of their plane tip pointing up slightly. Whereas if we're on a globe, you'd expect to be pointing down slightly or even straight. But why would it be slightly pointing up?
For the same reason that if you got a football and put a piece of string on it and then started swinging it around your head, it stays on that same path. It's not turning or whatever. And that's just because it's gravity that's effectively doing it, and it's so you keep a constant and it's the gravity. But again, it's the sheer vastness of the planet. People don't realize it isn't doing that. It is such a tiny curve. I teach a guy and he's got absolutely no reason to lie to me. He's in his 60s. He used to be in the RAF. He now flies for Virgin Atlantic. He's seen the curvature of the earth in military jets that go into the stratosphere. Okay. You can see it. And the reason you can't see it out of a plane window, even if it was high enough, is you have to have, I can't remember exactly what it is, but I think he said you have to have at least 180 degrees of sight to be able to see it. So you don't see enough. Okay. But he's like, I've seen it, Nick. I've seen it. Yeah. And he's just a normal man that lives in Market Bosworth, that's got a daughter and a wife, and he flies from New York to London 3 times a week. And he's like, no, it is categorically not a flat earth. Nothing would work if it did. But then people go, but he's a government shill. He's paid by the government.
Everyone's a shill, aren't they now?
Yeah, I've been called a shill. I bet you have.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yeah. You're paid by the government.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I was paid by the government. To sit here and tell people that this is true and this is true when actually the opposite's true. But I think that's the great thing about social media now, is it gives people with completely opposing views and lives a chance to... I mean, how amazing is it that you can sit on a phone and talk to somebody on the other side of the world now?
That is cool.
Amazing.
But then on social media, you can also be removed.
You can.
I had a Facebook account I'd had it for like 14, 15 years.
Yeah.
And then during the COVID thing, I started sharing links to the government website, showing things on there. And because it wasn't fitting the mainstream narrative, eventually I just had my Facebook account just deleted with no warning, no nothing. It's just gone. All my photos, everything from Tiff and being little, everything just gone. And I don't know why. But I believe it's because I was sharing things to the government website. Which 100%, was against the narrative.
100%.
So you can't really... Where's the freedom of speech in that?
There isn't any.
Absolutely.
There isn't any.
Which is scary.
And it's self-censoring. Self-censoring is now the new censorship, because, as I'm sure you do, we get paid a bit of money now from TikTok or from YouTube for views. Yeah. And you're thinking to yourself, well, if I, for argument's sake, earn £1,000 a month, and I say something that's going to get me banned, where am I going to get that £1,000 a month from again? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, again, it boils down to money, doesn't it? Yeah. Where's the money coming from? And I think, again, going back to sort of my level-headedness with all of this. If you are a social media platform and your job is to earn money through ad revenue or whatnot, if the powers that be that pay your bills are saying, we don't want to put our name to anything that is potentially, because I think in the early days of COVID, I don't think they really knew what they were dealing with.
Yeah.
There was definitely something there. Because I had it twice and I've never had anything like it before. I'd completely lost my sense of smell, completely lost my taste. First time, that was really all. I had a bit of a headache. Second time, wiped me out. But again, lost my sense of taste, lost my sense of smell. My sister was a care home manager at the time. And, you know, she was saying, people are dying more now than in any other time that she's ever been there. There's definitely something. So I think when companies and governments and politicians don't actually know what they're dealing with, I think they probably err on the side of caution and go, we could be liable for a lawsuit here if we allow people to do this and go down there. And then, you know, John from down the street has now all of a sudden said that he's got 100% proof that this, da-da-da-da. So I think possibly that's part of it. There was definitely a narrative. The Twitter files have shown you that since Elon Musk took over. So definitely there.
But then you also, again, back to the money trails.
Correct.
When you follow some of the MPs, certainly some of the big ones that were there, they were getting their friends and family to suddenly start buying and creating PPE companies to then be awarded multi-million pound contracts or make from down the pub and whatever. That's
which is completely wrong.
Absolutely.
But it's all about the money.
Absolutely.
It's all about the money.
But then people don't see that. People just think that they care about you, when in actual fact they care about getting the contracts out.
I think, what monetary value does it take for a person's integrity to go?
Well, it depends on the person.
I'm sure we all have one.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to sit here now and say, I would never do X, Y, and Z for money. But until you're put into that position, where does a person's resolve? Because we're only human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if you're being offered tens of millions of pounds to not say something, what figure is there? What is that figure? And then the problem is, if you've accepted something early doors for something that's really not that controversial, they've then got you, haven't they?
Absolutely.
They've then got you. So the next time it's easier and it's easier and it's easier. And it's, you know, it's the same with wars. It's the same with everything. The people that control the money control everything.
Oh, yeah.
And that's modern day slavery, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely. But you don't know that when you're in it unless you become aware to it. So
absolutely.
Most people are not aware of it.
They're not aware of it. And it's a difficult subject because moaning about it, I don't think gets us anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
I think I was saying to someone the other day about TikTok, you know, taking on Amazon, and somebody was saying, oh, you know, it's another Chinese company doing this. I says, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
You either jump on board, make loads of money, pay your mortgage off, go on 5 holidays a year, and then, you know, do whatever you want to do, or you continue moaning about it and struggling to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So, but then again, that's this kind of what we were just saying, selling out, isn't it, almost? Whereas the integrity, it's kind of like, and it's just that system that we're in, which is very impossible to get out of.
Yeah. Unless you're going to live off grid somewhere.
Yeah,
And live off the
which
land.
they're making it so much more difficult, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, very difficult. And then, you know, I was thinking to myself, it would be a great idea to do that. But then I like to have the internet.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to go and get a nice cup of hot coffee and sit in a lovely place like this. And you've driven over to meet me and have this experience. And is what's happening in my life in a negative way so bad that I want to give up all of the good things that we've got? And I don't think I do.
Yeah, that's a personal choice then, isn't it? When when you've got your options, when you weigh it up to your reality, you then make your decision based on your reality.
And I think if most people, we live in a pretty decent country.
At the minute.
Yeah.
There are lots of things that I don't agree with at the moment.
As in
very
what?
much.
Immigration.
Yeah, basically. When you look up and down the country and we've got all the hotels full, and it is mainly men in these hotels. It's not children and women like we're led to believe. It is mainly men. And then we've got more and more crimes come in at the moment, like the murders of the children in, is it Wales?
Ireland yesterday?
Yeah.
Or the day before,
And that was an immigrant. And locally to me, I've seen a couple of people sharing in Nottingham of these immigrants going up to ladies. One of them grabbed this lady in the park and things like that. And it seems that there's more and more. But then in their countries, that's their normal. And then they come here and we change our normal to accommodate other people. But if we were to go somewhere like Dubai, you follow their rules because you're in their country. So I believe it should be more like that here. You're in our country, you follow our rules. Not we're going to change all our rules and our lifestyles and our heritage to welcome you. I've heard stories of people, and again, this is just stories, so I don't know, but I've heard of, in London, around the mosques, they're putting up signs saying it's, I don't know the name of their law, but it's
Sharia law.
That's the one. That's the law around there. And they're going up to ladies and shouting and spitting at ladies and being rude, saying you should be wearing a hijab and things like that. I'm like, no, you're in our country. But what worries me...
But are they just stories?
Well, who knows? But then they can say out of anything, can't you?
Yeah.
But we know the children have just been murdered.
Yeah.
This lady, I know there's no reason why this lady's going to lie about being approached and grabbed. And it worries me, especially with having a young daughter. I know for me, I live in a small town and there's at least 4 hotels I know of
That are full.
And it is mainly men.
Yeah.
I know somebody who is employed to ferry them, does runs for them. So picks them up from one of the hotels just outside the town, brings them into town. There's got a private bus for them every single day. They have another one that comes on the weekends and takes them all the way to Nottingham, to the city. They get all their hospital appointments, dentist appointments, all this. And then we've got our ex-military. Some are on drugs, but it's still, even then, they should still deserve help. But then living on the streets, and it's like, where's the morals in that? That isn't right. Things like that. But then there was also something else that I saw, where a guy said that when there's enough of them, they can overpower us. And it's a bit like, that is actually quite scary as a single mum, thinking that a load of men could turn up at my house and things like that. And obviously the more we're letting in daily, it's not going to be long before we are potentially overpowered. But everyone's just moaning, nobody's actually doing anything. But then if you do say something, then you're a racist and you're this and you're that, because that's the narrative you've been told again in mainstream.
It's such a difficult one, isn't
it?
It's such a difficult one because...
Obviously helping them is the right thing to do. But where's the line? Where do you draw the line? When do you start putting your own country, your own people first?
I always try and look for a monetary reason as to why it's happening. Because I think 9 times out of 10, if you can figure that out, you figure out why it's happening. And I don't know if it's to do with votes, political sway. I don't know. But again, I listen to a podcast a lot, and it's a guy called Lex Friedman, and he always asks his guests, whenever they're talking about something, he says, can you steel man me this, and can you straw man me this? So, for example, steel man in a case is, okay, so you've got this view on something. Can you now brainstorm some ideas that are completely not against what you're saying, but reasons why it's happening in a logical sense? Or can you strawman something? So, somebody's going, well, I think that all banks are fine and the government's good for us. And we say, well, could you strawman me that case? And that'll be, okay, can you think of some reasons why banks would be the enemy and the nefarious things that they get up to? And I can't think of anything legitimately why it is happening. But again, a lot of it is hearsay. A lot of it is...
But you know they're there because you can go and see that they're
yes,
there.
you do. You do. You absolutely do. My life hasn't been negatively impacted at all since it all started.
Have you needed a doctor's or a dentist?
Yes, and I've got there. And
okay.
Yep, and I've had an operation on my knee.
Okay.
The NHS and the doctors and the dentists have all been amazing for me.
Okay.
And maybe that's just me being lucky.
Yeah.
There are too many people starting to come into the country. When is enough? What number do we say we're now full? Because there has to be a number.
Yeah. Especially when you've got families that work full time, living on the breadline.
Yep.
And then you've got these people that you're literally giving a roof to, hot running water, 2 meals a day paid for, travel paid for, plus a daily allowance. And like I say, it is mainly men. I know people that work in these places.
It's 90% men, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It is. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't want to live in a huge city now.
No.
I wouldn't want to do it. I've got 2 daughters as well. But again, have we not always had these fears of letting your daughters out? If I'd have spoken to my dad about his fears of letting his daughters out when he was in his 30s or 40s, there would have been something.
Yeah, of course.
There would have been the flasher. You always used to hear about the flasher, didn't you? Or the bloke that drives around schools in a white van with puppies in there. So I think there's always been... So is part of this that?
Yeah, maybe.
Is it? And I don't think anything can be completely... All these immigrants that are coming over are all terrible and they're all bad. No. There are good people and bad people. But I do think that the question has to be, when are we full?
Yeah.
When are we full? What's the number?
Is there a number?
I don't think they have one.
It's an infinite, isn't it?
I don't think they have one. And I think that's the problem. And I think, again, in my short-lived working career, because I've never really worked for anybody except for myself, I've worked for Tesco. I worked for Ladybird Books. Can you remember Ladybird Books? Yeah. So they were from Loughborough, just down the corner. So I worked for them. I've done bits and bobs for other things. I worked for David Lloyd. And I've said this to everybody. When you work for an organisation that on the outside looks very professional and like they know what they're doing, and then you start working for them, and it is a pile of shit. Nobody knows what they're doing. There is no communication from one area to the other. I can remember... I'm letting out all the stories now. I can remember working in Tesco's and I was on the shop floor, we were working produce or whatever. Somebody would come up to you and say, "Oh, excuse me, you've run out of these on the shelf. Could you see if there's any in the back?" Yeah, my love, I'll go and have a look for you. You walk out into the back, you have a chat with your mate, you walk back 5 minutes later, you say, no, sorry, they'll be on the delivery today. Because we couldn't be arsed climbing over all of the cages to get to the back corner to look for Pampers nappy wipes, whether we had them or not. Yeah. So it was like, no, because we knew that we were going to be stocked up later on that night anyway. And that's just one example. It's things like you've not been paid enough. So you have to then go to the HR woman later on in the day and say, "Look, can you have a look through my wage slip?" "Oh, yeah, actually, we did forget to put that on." So when people have got this idea of big governments or big banks or big pharma having this super organised neural network of people and ideas, it ain't true. Because it's human beings that are lazy, that are turning up to work pissed up, that have not told somebody about this. So it's so easy to think of the boogeyman and, it's this, but actually when you turn your light on, it was just your coat hanger. A funny angle, wasn't it? Yeah. And I think we do let our minds run away with ourselves sometimes. And I don't think there is an organisation capable of global mind control, control of every single aspect. I just don't think it's possible because it's human beings. Yeah. But again, go and have a look at the World Health Organization. It's going to be another one of those things that I told you about. The army and the police, you would say, should be maybe along with, yeah, I mean, you've only got to go and have a look at the Houses of Parliament, when they're all in the chamber, and you've got some of them falling to sleep and stuff like that, and you're thinking to yourself, that's just humans.
Yeah.
They've had a few too many drinks at lunchtime. It's boring as fuck going through the policies, and the humans are just nodding off.
But
and
if
I
you
think
do that at work...
Yep, they do that at work.
Yeah, but if you do that at work, though, you'll
I'd be
get
in
sacked.
trouble. I would get sacked, yes. And I do think there's one rule for one and one rule for another. But this great global cabal of people that are... I just think there's just too many... There's too many moving parts. Trying to organise 100 people is difficult. Imagine trying to organise 8 billion.
Unless...
Come on.
Unless they've been taught and indoctrinated in their schools, such as the World Economic Forum, where pretty much all of our prime ministers and MPs, or at least a lot of the MPs, are part of.
Yep.
So if they're fed a narrative and that's all they know, that's all they're going to know.
It's funny because I was thinking about this just yesterday. If you could wipe the slate clear, totally clear, the education system is a blank slate, and you get to design a day or a week with 30 children, what would it look like? What time would they start? Because I was watching something, and it was one of these conspiracy things, and it was like, American schools are just teaching children to be part of a system like a prison or something, and they get up at this time and they can only eat at this time and they can only go to the toilet, and they're fenced off in a playground, and they're just literally just teaching them how it's going to be like in penitentiary. So I was thinking, okay, if I could design a school and a timetable, what would it look like? And after about an hour of thought and of thinking about all of the problems that you were going to have facing you, do you know what it'd look like?
What?
Pretty much what we've got.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, mine wouldn't.
So you've jumped onto the fanciful, we're going to have a meadow outside maybe, and we're going to have forest school and all of this.
That would be cool.
But then, it would be cool. But then what about if you lost one of those kids? And the ramifications you've got of the child being abducted or getting lost or falling out of a tree and dying. Now you've got lawsuits from the parents. So straight away, these open environments can't work.
Yeah, but that would just be like the playground, though, wouldn't it?
Okay.
So
have a think about it. What would it look like? What would your ideal school day, what would it be?
Okay.
What age groups of kids would you have?
Normal school age, but first thing in the morning, they'd learn about meditation and stilling the mind and their own thoughts, their own feelings, being aware of feelings.
Would it be in a classroom? Would it be out? What would the classroom look like? Would it be 4 walls with a door?
We can be in a classroom. The location's not that important, I don't think.
Okay.
It's the energy and what they're being taught and what they're being told.
So what about them 15 kids that don't want to do it, and they're pissing about and they're flicking things at the little girl's hair, and one kid's eating his bogies? What would you do? What happens?
Good question. Just give them some headphones and a colouring book.
One of them smashed them up, pulled them out, chewing on it.
I don't see why they wouldn't sit because they have to sit anyway. Say at the end of the day, they'll sit and listen to a story. So if they just have to sit for 5 minutes, even 5 minutes starting off with, or even 2 minutes to start off with until they get used to it, they can just sit, have their eyes closed and hear a story. Being told mindfulness. I do my mindful meditations at the end of my fitness classes with the mums, and the children are in the forest school. It's literally as you just said. I do classes for mums in the forest school. So at the end of the session, we have a mindful meditation, and some of the children are running around screaming. So it's not that mindful for the mums, but the thing is, they're still there and still giving themselves that attention and that love and that self-love. So
how long do you think this session would go on for?
Depends on their age group, wouldn't
No,
it?
not the time.
Okay.
How many days would this go on for?
Every morning.
Until you've decided, actually, these kids don't want to do this, and nothing I can say or do. There's going to be some teachers that are watching this, and I love your what's it called? Your zest for perfection. You've never worked in a school.
I did. I used to volunteer in a school. when Tia was at school, in primary school, I went and did some health-related things in the school.
How did it go?
It was all right, to be fair. But if
So you've had your meditation in the morning. Then what we're doing?
Maybe planting some seeds, looking at where their food comes from, that kind of stuff. And they can have a little bit of play and chat with their friends, a little bit of what do you want? Listen to yourself. What do you want to do? Then they can have like their outside break, more time outside, because literally in a whole school day they get like 10 minutes or something in the morning.
Do these kids need to learn to read?
Of course, but that all comes with life though, doesn't it? Like I was saying, Tia, I homeschooled my daughter for a few years, and we was told that she wasn't going to amount to anything, she wouldn't be able to do anything, and now she's just started secondary school again, and she's ahead of most of her friends. Mm-hmm. And I never sat her down every single day and was like, right, sit and read. It was just part of, well, I did make her read, obviously, but it was part of choose a book. Like she could go in, we went into the shop and she would look through and choose whatever she would want to do. So then she would sit and read. But I wouldn't be like, right, sit and read for an hour. It would be, she'd sit and read until she had had enough. So it was she was learning to listen to herself and respect what her needs and her wants were.
Would that be easier or more difficult to do with 30 strangers?
Yeah, it would be more difficult, of course. But then, yeah, it would.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Was that your teaching methods, or was that the fact that Tia was getting one-to-one time with her mum?
Yeah, but then not always though, because it would be like, I would be like, right, Tia, I've got to sit and do some work for an hour. Can you go and read? So she'd go and read, and then, like I say, if she'd had enough of reading, then she'd just do something that she wanted to do, which was normally crafts or colouring or something arty, because that's just what she enjoyed doing. I wasn't there sat.
But if you were rolling out a global education system, how could we do that?
If they're in reception, then they're going to start learning from that young age. So that would be normal to them. Yeah. So say they're told to sit in the classroom and sit with their eyes closed for 2 minutes and listen to a mindful meditation, like just literally connecting to your body. So like being aware of your feet at the minute. They're going to put their energy into their feet, so they'll know how their feet feel. That kind of thing. So if they start for literally 2 minutes in reception, by the time they get to year 6, they're going to easily be able to sit and do 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to be boring as such, because they're going to be learning to connect with themselves. And it's just going to be different, isn't it? Like, we know that meditation helps reduce stress, it helps reduce anxiety, depression. And when you look at the mental health of kids at the minute, anxiety, stress and depression is off the scale.
I think meditation and mindfulness is probably part of the curriculum now. Okay. I certainly know some schools that when I was PE teaching, so I've not been in schools now for 2 years, definitely something that was coming in. Yeah. So I 100%, I meditate most days. I'm an advocate for it, 100%. Yeah. But I do it because I want to do it, and I understand everybody says that everybody loves PE and going outside. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
The boys do, mostly. Yeah. Some of the girls do, but the vast majority of 9 to 15-year-old girls particularly do not want to be doing PE. They hate it. They hate it with a passion, and they'll do anything to get out of it. So I think equally, people will hate to do meditation, and some will hate to do growing things, and some people will hate maths. But how do we organise that on a global scale?
Same way they've done schools, isn't it? Really.
Yep.
It's just starting off the small. But then that's how but it's what we're taught in schools now, though, isn't it? It doesn't relate to life.
Like, in the sense that what would your curriculum be then? So we agree that they've got to do some maths.
Yeah.
We agree that they've got to learn to read and write.
Yeah.
We agree that they've got to learn about the world that they live in, so some science and
biology,
things like
chemistry,
that.
physics.
Yeah.
100% physics.
Music.
Yeah, because again,
art.
It's all creative and
Cooking.
getting in touch. Absolutely, that's a life essential life skill.
Is that not school?
Well, when you say it like that, it kind of is. But then what about all the unnecessary stuff that we're taught and all the things that could be taught instead?
Yeah.
So like
what?
Which part? What's unnecessary? The unnecessary.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that I often do these thought experiments with myself because I like to challenge a belief that I've got and then put myself in a situation and think, how would I realistically do this any different?
Yeah.
And it comes down to it. And I watched a program a long time ago, and it jogged a memory. And it was, I don't know how and they even got away with still being alive at the end of it, but they got a group of kids.
Oh, yeah.
And they let them live in a house and do whatever they wanted to do for a period of time. They said, there's all the food in the cupboards. You do whatever you want to do. And for the first, it might have only been in there for like a couple of hours or something, but for the first period, it was chaos. They were fighting and screaming and squabbling, and stuff was getting smashed up, and they were eating whatever they wanted. And after a small period of time, they all started realizing that actually, this is not really anything good. You know, we've got stuff everywhere. We don't know where it is. They've not slept. They're having a fight. And over time, without any outside influence, they started to organize into, right, you need to tidy this up, and then we're going to do this. And I've seen them doing it in schools as well. And very quickly, it almost went to a normal hierarchy of people that were doing natural leaders. You know, the girls ended up going and doing this. And then I'm thinking to myself, you know, is that just the way that, you know, really we want to be? Because chaos is not great. And it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. You know, how would we? People say, you know, the police are terrible in this, that, and the other. How would you police a society where you've got cars hurtling down the road at 70 miles an hour, you've got thieves, you've got perverts, and you've got normal people, and you've got disabilities? And how would you police that in a better way? And I don't know. I'm not qualified enough to be able to say it, but I reckon that if you tried it 100 times over, 90 times out of 100, they'd be pretty similar to what we've got.
I agree. There was that state, isn't there? There is a state, I can't remember which it is. It's nothing I've ever really looked into, but I know of a state in the US where they literally have no police, and they do sort it out between themselves. And if anyone is morally wrong or causes hurt, pain, theft or anything, they get booted out of the county. They're not allowed back in. And I think that's brilliant.
You heard of it, Ben?
Have a look. Yeah, it's in the States somewhere, yeah.
And I bet you if you went and actually looked at that state, it would probably be pretty close to what we've got in other places.
Yeah.
Because they're self-policing, you know. What do you do if somebody gets really drunk and goes on a bit of a frenzy and a rampage and hitting people and fighting and spitting? You stick them in a room and lock the door. Yeah.
Wait for them to sober up.
Wait for them to sober up. What do we do here? A couple of blokes or a woman come in a police car and lock you up and wait for you to sober up, and then you get charged for it. And I just think that I think human beings are designed to solve problems.
Yeah.
And because we've got so few problems now, we're inventing problems to solve.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, who's right about this, who's wrong about that, you know. And I think when we have real problems to face, like, have I got enough food to eat today?
Yeah.
Am I going to be able to protect my wife or my kids from that marauding mob that's coming over the hill?
Yep.
Am I going to be able to put a roof? I think they're real problems that we're designed to try and solve. We've solved all of them, haven't we? We have.
Yeah.
We're safe. We're safe. We've got more than enough food. It's nice and warm. You can go and get a glass of clean water. And then all of a sudden our brain starts going, right, but I need to figure something else out. What problems? There's lizards. I've heard there's a lizard in the House of Parliament that's ruling the world, and we've got to defeat them. And I just think sometimes it's easy to run away with it.
Is our water clean?
Is the water clean? Is the water clean?
I don't drink tap water.
Is water today better for us than it was 1,000 years ago? Okay, let's not say 1,000 years ago. Let's say 500 years ago.
I don't know.
I would rather drink our water.
But there used to be like, well, I don't know. Because you don't know where it comes from. Even back then, we don't really know. Like, our tap water now, it's full of pharmaceuticals and chemicals and toxins. And you can ask your water board for a freedom of information request and ask them what's in your water. And the list is shocking. Crazily shocking. That's why I distill my water now.
Yeah, and I don't. You know, if somebody bought me a water distiller and it was just there, I would drink it.
Yeah.
I just don't, because I don't spend any time thinking about that. But then I also go and look at the ingredients on anything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this Diet Pepsi here has got 20 different things in it.
Yeah.
I've been drinking Diet Pepsi for 25 years.
Yeah.
I don't think anything bad's happened to me.
What's your diet like the rest of the time, though? Do you just consume crap
Sometimes
all the time?
good, mainly good, sometimes shit.
Mainly good,
Mainly
though.
good. But everything is a chemical.
Yeah.
Every single thing on this planet is a chemical.
Yeah.
And it all comes from this planet,
Yeah.
whether it's flat or round.
Yeah.
So you only need to go and have a look at... I watched this guy on TikTok and his name's the Bearded Water Guy or something like that.
Oh, someone he tagged, yeah, okay.
And he's all into his water and whatnot. But
Yeah.
even the best waters that he looks at, you go and look at the back of it and it's all
Yeah.
chemicals,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's potassium or this and that.
Natural.
So but everything's chemicals.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know,
It's the structure.
is fluoride killing us in the water?
Well, that's interesting, that is, because obviously I was a dental nurse for a long time, so
Yeah.
we used to push it on everybody.
Yeah.
And we were told to, and that's what we were told. We were told that it's really good for you. And it wasn't until I left dentistry and started looking more into chemicals and my healing journey and looking at what to remove from my life, it wasn't until I went down that route and started reading studies. And there was a study conducted in China where they had two groups of children. They had children who were just not fluoridated. And then they had a group of children that they gave fluoride to, and they saw a reduction in their brain capacity and ability to learn by over 50%. So the children that were given fluoride were over 50% less likely.
What were the doses?
I can't remember this.
You know what I
can't
mean?
remember. Yeah, but then when you look at how much fluoride we have fluoride in our water.
Bread.
The fluoride in and the
Toothpaste.
toothpaste is crazy amounts of fluoride. Like even when we were at the dentist, we used to put just a pure fluoride gel onto the children's teeth, and it's how close to your brain and your pineal gland, and now we've got children with such massive mental health issues, and children with the disease in children and illnesses in children is more now than what it used to be. So why? Is it because of all these chemicals we are putting into our body? When you look at the science, like, for example, like I do a lot with vitamins and minerals, so I've done a lot of research into reading a lot of the studies, and there is studies out there, and it shows you the structure. So you can have a vitamin, say vitamin B, B1, from food sources, it's one structure. Then you've got another B vitamin that's man-made and synthetic, and the structure is completely different. So the science that shows the synthetic vitamin and mineral, because your body doesn't recognise it as a food, it's structured differently. Rather than taking it and absorbing it, your body sees it as a virus. This is what there's a lady that I spoke to who was a scientist, she was in Sweden, who works for this company, and I asked her to explain it to me because I wanted to really understand it. And she said that that's how it is. Your body sees it as a virus. So instead of your body absorbing it all and using it, your body's using its energy up, trying to get rid of it and trying to fight it, which is why when you read the actual studies as well, it shows you that the synthetic vitamins and minerals your body takes in, but it can't use. So it can't use it, can't digest it, can't absorb it, so it can't get rid of it. So eventually, if you use enough over longer periods of time, it stays lodged in your soft tissues, which then leads on to something called acidosis, which is inflammation of everything, basically. And the symptoms of acidosis are very similar to the symptoms of ME and fibromyalgia. Yeah. So it's all like, I don't know, it's all connected, I think. For me personally, since looking into things and removing things, I've seen a huge, I'm a completely different person, mentally, physically, every single way. And back to the fluoride.
So what have you cut out? What are the main things that you cut out that you've gone, I can never have that again? Alcohol?
Alcohol's one. Yeah. So like last year I drank alcohol 3 times. All 3 times I was ill after, or could feel my body starting to react to it again. So I've been, since New Year's Eve, not had a drink alcohol. I don't intend to. Which is crazy because I used to be quite a big drinker. Before I had Tia, I was out partying, drinking every weekend. Even when I've had Tia, her weekends at Dad's, I would normally probably go out and party and get drunk every weekend. I started cutting all that out. I've cut out pretty much all processed foods. Again, I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be. Yeah, if you want something and you can't bother, then you can't be bothered.
So, chocolate bars, crisps, all that kind of junk.
Not on a day-to-day, But say, like, we'll have a movie night, then obviously we will.
Some popcorn.
Yeah. But, like, foods, I normally try and start from scratch, pretty much all my cooking. I'll get organic if I can, but obviously it's more expensive. So I have a little frequency machine that removes all the crap out of it, wash it before I use it.
What's that? Is that like one of those sonic kind of, like, cleaner things that you see people putting rings and stuff in?
I guess it's similar to that. Yeah, we used to use one of those at work as well, the ultrasonics.
Yes.
It's very similar. So this one I use is a Aqua Pure, I think it is. And it's just a circular little machine. You just put it in your water, turn it on, and it gives out the frequencies and colours. It's a blue frequency, which is a powerful frequency. And it's just supposed to remove everything, but you can see stuff in it at the end.
So you put your food in it. It's got you've got this thing, put water in it, and then put the food in it?
Well, like in a bowl. So just get a normal bowl, put my fruit in it with the water, and then put the machine in it.
Right.
And it does it that way.
And what? It gets rid of...
Apparently 99.9% of pesticides, bugs, bacteria, germs, any junk on it.
Through frequency?
Yeah. Because everything's frequency, isn't it? Everything's energy. We're all frequency, we're all energy.
Yes.
So it's just changing your energy, changing that frequency to what it should be.
And how do we know what it should be?
Well, it's just what we're told, isn't it? So they believe that it just vibrates everything off and takes it back to the natural frequency of Earth, so that Earth vibrates at, I can't remember the exact hertz now.
Something hertz, 32343 hertz or something like that, yeah.
So it's supposed to just help bring it back to that normal frequency. And then I also removed day-to-day products, so like deodorants, because they're full of aluminium, which is obviously then put straight onto your lymph nodes, which goes straight into the breast. Dairy, I removed dairy because it's highly acidic. And when you look at studies with ladies with breast cancer, the ladies that go on to drink dairy afterwards are, I think it's like 50 times more likely, probably not 50 times, but more likely to have it again. So the ladies that don't drink it don't get it again. So anything that causes the inflammation. Junk food, deodorants, shampoos, conditioners, body creams. Our skin is such a super absorbent organ, and it obviously absorbs straight into our blood. So if your blood's already at a state of acidosis, it kind of builds up and builds up and builds up. Plus our lymphatic drainage system doesn't have its own pump like your heart, so you have to manually move it and get it pumping. People don't know that. We're not taught that.
By doing what? Exercise?
Yeah, so rebounding's really good on a little rebounder, or just like simple massages. So I do my face, I've got this zappy thing on my face, and then just have to like push everything out manually. And you've got your lymphatic systems here, so you like have to massage it out. It's all manual stuff. So little things like that. I won't say little things, it's quite a big thing really.
Yeah.
Healing my gut health, that was the very first thing. Yeah. But also, as we said about frequency, changing our energy bodies. So we have our physical body, then inside you have your energetic body, which they say is in main 3 bits. So you've got like meridians, which are like lines of energy that run up. Then you've got your chakras, which they believe is like wheels of energy. You've got 7 main ones. And each one connects to a physical, mental, and emotional part of you. So if, say, in childhood, you had bad experiences and you never healed that frequency, your body holds it like an energetic diary. So if it's left unhealed, even subconsciously, eventually it will manifest in your reality, physical, mental, emotional symptoms. So like your base, your root chakra is supposed to be about safety and security in the real world, and it connects to your bone health and your structure of your body. So for me, my childhood was not safe and secure. So I then manifested that in my body as osteoarthritis, so my bones, and fibromyalgia, again, bones, muscles, structural tissues. So for me, a big part of my healing journey was also healing this energy body. So then when I've healed all my energy body, I'm literally a different person. Like I say, I was bulimic. I had bulimia, body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression, fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, and touch wood, I've healed myself. You can't say cured, because if you say you're cured, then you get... I've healed myself through holistics, through, as I said, nutrition, exercise, energy work. They were the main 3 things.
So your energy work's what? Meditation?
And
breathing,
energy
exercise,
healing.
What does
in
that
different
mean?
ways. So have you heard of Reiki?
Yes.
So I used to do Reiki, but I don't anymore. That's another story. So that's kind of an energy healing. So with Reiki, you use symbols to call in an energy and allow it to pass through you and give it a funnel for the other person. So that's how I used to do it. And then I'd go into more quantum, which is just setting the intent, but you can feel. So I'm quite intuitive with energies and things. So you can literally, it's about intention, same with anything. Intention's key, because we are more powerful than we're taught. So with energy healing, it's again, just setting that intention, connecting to your, whatever you want to call it, and just allowing that energy to flow. And touch wood, I've not had anybody yet that has never had an experience. So even seeing things, like even from a distance, because energy has no limits, I've done quite a lot of distance energy sessions. So I see things, as I see, it's like in your mind's eye, you see things. And then afterwards, I like to tell people what I saw or what I felt first, so they know for them. And all of the time so far, again, touch wood, everyone's always connected with what I've said. Like people have been, there was this lady, I was sat on the floor doing the work, and I felt like I was sat on the floor, but then halfway through I felt like I got cold, so I stayed on the floor, but I felt like I'd got up and went and laid on my bed, like something like that. And then I had the window open with the breeze coming on me, so it was very deep, like, yeah.
And
that happened.
was this eyes closed?
Yeah, this was me doing my thing.
Meditation kind of thing.
And channeling the energy, and then I was seeing colours. The colours were coordinating with different chakras, different energy centres. At the end, I told the lady what I had seen and what I had felt, and she sent me a photo back. And she said she had been sat on her floor to start off with. Then she got cold, so she went and got on her bed, and then she sent me the view from her bed, which was the window open and the curtain blowing in the wind. So everything that I had seen or felt during that session, she had actually done.
And where was she?
She was in the same town, but at her house.
Were you both doing this at the same time?
Yeah. So she was sat there again. She set the intention to allow the energy to flow, and she was also seeing the same colours that I was seeing as well, which when we got a little deeper corresponded with what she was experiencing. So colours wise, so like I said, root chakra associated with colour red. So it could be feeling insecure, not being safe in your day-to-day reality, your physical world. So the red's I am. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when she was seeing the colours, it was corresponding with what she had going on as well. It still blows my mind. Even though I've done it so many times, it still blows my mind every time. It's like, wow, how did that happen? Who knows? But on a quantum level, they're saying now that they are starting to believe these kind of quantum energies, and, well, everything is energy, isn't it? How can you not believe it? Crazy stuff.
It is crazy stuff, yeah. It's fascinating. So my family are very spiritual.
Oh, okay.
So my sister, she passed away a few years ago. She used to teach Reiki or do Reiki. My dad's always been gifted in that sense. It was just a normal thing, but it was just a normal thing that you've hurt yourself. Your dad just puts his hands on you and makes you better.
Yeah.
And friends had come over. Oh, I've twisted my ankle. Mr. Rose, can you put your hands on me? And they'd run off, and always stuff like that. I've always been a little bit sceptical, but have you heard my story about the bloke in the train?
No.
So I've done it a couple of times on TikTok. What would it have been? About a year and a half ago, no more than 2 years ago, a group of my friends, we'd all decided to go out. There's a little village just 4 or 5 miles away called Quorn. Lovely little village. But on a Friday night, it's full of our sort of age people, not necessarily your age, but my sort of age. So we decided we'll go there. Got there and it was dead, absolutely dead. There was nobody out. Spoke to one of the people that runs the pub and we were like, what's going on tonight? Like, I've got no idea, it's just dead. So we'd had a couple of drinks there and we decided then to come back to Loughborough because Loughborough would have been a bit busier. And got on the bus, got into Loughborough, went into this bar, which is just in the middle of town, and it was heaving. I mean, heaving. They'd got like a DJ on, it was rammed. So we'd gone in, I said to the lads, I said, go and get a drink, go and sit down, get somewhere to sit or wherever you're going to go, I'll get the drinks. So as I'm at the bar, the other side of the bar, there was some bloke that just caught my eye, and he looked a bit worse for wear, not in the sense that he was just hammered. He looked a bit scruffy, and Loughborough at times, not so much, well, not being out for such a long time, was quite notorious for a bit of trouble, fighting and scrapping and stuff like that. So I'm looking at this bloke, and he's obviously caught me looking at him, and I don't know why I can't keep my eyes off him. I just just something weird about him. And he's mouthed over. He's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And I thought, oh, fucking here we go. 43 or whatever it is, I'm not doing this anymore. So I've gone up to him and said, look, I'm not here for any trouble. I don't want to have a fight. Let me buy you a drink. And he says, why do you keep looking at me? I says, I don't know. I says, I've just got a really funny feeling when I look at you. And I'm getting the gist that you're going to do something stupid tonight involving a train. And he looks at me and he goes, who the fucking hell are you? And I'm like, I'm nobody. He says, what are you talking about? I says, I don't know. And he started crying, and out of his back pocket, he pulls a train timetable out. Oh. So the train station in Loughborough, they have trains that go straight through and some that don't. So he says, yeah, I've come down here tonight to get drunk, and I was going to kill myself tonight.
Wow.
I'm like, what? And he said, yep. He said, that was the train that was going to do it, because it doesn't stop. It's going straight from wherever to wherever. I'm like, what? He's like, how did you know that? Are you an angel or something? I'm like, I'm nothing. I'm nobody. So we went outside and we're having a chat, and I'm like, you know, what's going on in your life that's that bad? He says, I think I'm gay. I said, so? So what? It's 2023. He said, no, I can't be. You know, obviously family or friends. He's probably of that generation where it's frowned upon. He's like, I just can't do it. You know, and I think the world would be better off without me. I says, that's absolute nonsense. But anyway, he didn't kill himself.
Wow.
And I can't explain it to you. I have got no explanation.
Intuition.
Just bizarre.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it's like what you were saying, when you see these things, it's not like somebody's running a video in your head. It was you know, if you had to describe to somebody how you feel when you're hungry, but you aren't allowed to say that my tummy's rumbling, how would you describe it? It's...
You just know, don't you?
I just know I'm hungry, yeah. And it was a little bit like that.
That's cool.
So that's my sort of no explanation, and my logical head, you know, because, you know, for days afterwards I'm going, right, had I maybe seen him earlier on, had I heard a conversation that and there's no logical explanation for why I would have been drawn to him. I didn't know him, I'd never seen him before. And I don't know, just that, but it was like spot on. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a vague, oh yeah, I'm thinking about topping myself or whatever. And it was like, I reckon you're going to do something with a train. And he's like, and he's got a fucking chain timetable in his back pocket.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. So you know, when people say, oh, do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? I don't believe in anything, because, like I said, once you believe in something, it's very difficult to change your mind. I'm open to everything, but I will always try and come up with 100 reasons why it's not right first. And then if you keep getting to that same thing, you go, I don't know.
You can't do anymore.
I can't do any more. But yeah, very bizarre. I gave him my phone number, texted him the next day, so, you know, how you feeling, or a couple of days later, and he was still here. And obviously I live in Loughborough, so we've not heard anything about somebody committing suicide recently at a train station. So hopefully he didn't, and that was, you know, that was my opportunity to intervene.
Yeah, amazing.
But you would explain that as, you know, something,
just
I don't know, a higher power or a purpose.
Maybe, yeah. And like you said, if there's an angel, maybe you. And that time, what is an angel?
I don't know.
Exactly. So to him, and he said it. So to him, maybe you were his angel.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. That's cool.
But it's fascinating to think about these things. But you know, I don't know.
I think that's all we can know, isn't it? That we don't know anything.
I think part of me is, if you give in to the fact that you believe now there's something else out there that is in control of things, it almost takes away the control from yourself. Yeah, and I'm a firm believer that I'm in control of everything that I do. I've had a couple of shit days, that's my fault. I'm now sitting in this, you know, studio with you, and your daughter's come over. That's because of me. I've done that. I've done it. And possibly it's by acknowledging that there's something else out there that's guiding things, is almost like taking away from my ability to change things. You know what I mean? Well, what will be will be. Let's just crack on with it. Yeah. I don't know, but I do believe in elements of that as well.
That's the thing, isn't it? I'm with you there. I believe things happen for a reason. Like, you meet people for a reason, even if it's positive or negative. It's still taught you a lesson. You've still had some kind of something from that, a lesson, if you like, or some kind of growth from it. but then you also want your free will. Like, you like to think, actually, that's like something went well because I did it, not because it was supposed to go well.
Yeah. But equally, it went badly because of me.
Yeah.
And I think there's not a lot of... I think there's a lot of people that are happy to give themselves kudos for when things go well.
Yeah.
But when things go badly, are not as open to going, do you know what? There were things that I could have done better.
Yeah.
And I think that stops you from learning, doesn't it?
Yeah, and growth.
You know, my favourite saying at the minute, and I've said it 1,000 times last week, is fail fast and fail often.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you're going to learn.
Yeah.
If you're scared of failing, people say to me now, it was funny because my best mate, so I don't know how much of my content you've seen, but my journey started marriage breakup, couple of times COVID, broke my leg, lost pretty much most of the tennis coaching business through people not coming back after COVID and whatnot, just a real shit time. And then started drinking every day and just, you know, getting myself into a real pit. And deciding, and again, it's, you're going to go, you see, I told you, you're so skeptical. I was meditating one morning, and this voice came to me. It wasn't my voice.
Yeah.
It wasn't my voice. It wasn't my thoughts. And it said, before you do anything stupid, why don't you give your life 100% for a year? Everything that you know you should be doing, gym, supplements, no alcohol, getting off of Tinder, all of these things that you know are just really not good for you. And then at the end of that year, if you're still feeling the same way, you do what you need to do. And I came out of the meditation and I phoned one of my mates up that was going through a real hard time. And I explained it all to him and he was like, that's exactly what I need to do. He says, I can't believe you've said that. So I then just started getting myself back on track, started looking at supplements. That's where the Shilajit came from. Shilajit and this and ice baths and just doing everything. And then started making TikTok videos about it. And then that started resonating with people. And now all of a sudden, I've got nearly 200,000 followers and we've got a podcast. And if I think back to that voice, it's like, God, you were so right.
God, you were so right.
Well, whoever, you were so right. That thing was so right.
Yeah. Your creator?
I don't know, but it wasn't my voice.
Yeah.
It wasn't my voice. You know, people say, look, yeah, but if you start hearing voices in your head, then there's something wrong with you. But it was deep in a meditation one Sunday morning, and it was, you'll understand it because you'll have had that same thing.
Yeah.
And I've perhaps only heard that maybe twice, ever. And I went through a period of time. So I use these things called binaural beats to meditate to. So I read a book probably 10 years ago, and it was by a guy called Thomas Campbell, and it's called My Big Toe, My Theory of Everything. And he was an ex-NASA physicist, highly scientific, then got into meditation and alternate realities, and he now is an advocate for saying, I don't know if he's a full believer that it's simulation theory, but it's along those lines. And he started this thing called the Monroe Institute back in the maybe 70s or 80s. And they figured out that by playing two sounds, one in each ear, at a theta brainwave frequency, which is about 4.7 hertz, that could get you into a meditative stage that takes master meditators years to get to. So I downloaded this app, and it's unbelievable. But now they're everywhere. You just can download a binaural beat app on your phone. And I set it to that, and I put them in, and it kind of goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And as you just focus on the sound, you know you're in the sweet spot when all you're hearing is just, whoa, just one sound. So you know you're there. And well, you understand, but it gets you there so quickly. So that's how I do mine. And I can't, maybe I've made a little bit of a rod for my own back because I can't do normal meditation now where there's other sounds and I'm just focusing. I almost rely on that too much, but it does the job.
I was going to say, as long as you're doing it.
It does the job, yeah. It is fantastic.
That's cool.
So it was, it wasn't my voice. It was just I don't even know if it was a voice. It was a feeling, and that was that's my journey from there to here. That's why I say to people, you've just got to go with your gut.
Yeah, it's that intuition again, isn't it? Back to the intuition. Yeah. Go with what feels right. Because that's all everything is energy again. So if you're feeling something and it feels right.
But if we act on everything that feels right, we're going to make some terrible decisions, because going and eating 18 pieces of chicken at KFC felt right, didn't it, Ben? At the time.
Yeah, so but then you learn from that. So from that came a lesson.
But it's still going to feel good again in 2 weeks' time.
But then you know what to expect from it.
Yes.
You know to expect to not feel too good.
But it's not a superficial feeling like that, is it? It's not a...
It's a deep knowing. But then how do you explain it to somebody that's not experienced it before? Because you can't. Because like you said, you can't even put it into words. It's just a feeling, a knowing. It just is.
And a lot of people say, such and such, that's a placebo, or this is a placebo. And sometimes you think, that's a negative, that's got a negative connotation to it. But if it works, it works.
Yeah. Why
it
change
just works.
Yeah.
Have you read Becoming Supernatural?
Oh, Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I've started reading it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've read that one, and I think it was either the one before, which was called You Are the Placebo. You Are the Placebo.
Yeah.
And in that, he talks about, they've done studies where doctors have given people and told them, these tablets are sugar pills. There is no medication in them, but for some reason, they cure people of what you've got. And these people go away, take these tablets, knowing full well there's nothing in them. They come back 6 weeks later, they're cured.
So that's not even placebo then, though, is it? Because they already know that. They know it's nothing. So how does that work?
The book's amazing. And he's like, these studies have been shown. And they're told there's nothing medical that's going to help you here, but for some reason they work.
Yeah,
so they go away, take them, and they come back. Oh, yeah, I'm fine now. So he's really, really good couple of books. But I just find myself I don't know why. Maybe there's some hidden trauma. I always find myself trying to disprove things.
So that in the body energy body, that comes up to the crown chakra, which is the need for a logic to explain something. You won't just believe it because because your intuition tells you to. You want that logical science behind it. So that could be an imbalance in the crown.
in the crown.
Crown chakra, yeah.
Because there's a chakra above your head, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like a star.
Because Dispenza talks about that, and as you are meditating, trying to focus and doing all of these pelvic tightening your stomach and things like that, moving the energy up and stuff like that. Yeah. So I do know a little bit about it. But yeah, I think going back to the blooming trilogy, a bloke stopped me the other day in town. I was walking past and he went, "Oi," he said, "You've not got time to be in town. You need to be making TikTok videos." I went, "Oh, you're all right." He was like, "Yeah." And he was an Asian chap. And I says, "Oh, do you want some shilajit?" He went, "I've been taking that stuff for 10 years, mate." So all of the sort of southern Indian, the Eastern cultures.
Ayurvedic medicine.
Yes,
that's what I'm studying at the minute.
They're all on it, yeah. So the guy that runs Raw Shilajit, here's another weird one for you. And you see, it's almost like I'm telling you these things, and then I'm convincing myself that it's all true.
Well, if it's happened, it's true, isn't it? It's real.
So the guy that runs this is he's into all of that, whatever you said, but he's massive into numerology.
Okay.
Like hugely into numerology, and when we first met, he said that, look, I've just got a feeling that he believes numerology, but he believes that this is a simulation.
Okay. And
it's a computer simulation. And once you can find numbers within the code, you can then start. And I like that because it's kind of science, but it's not. So he says, so we first met about 2 months ago. I drove down to London and I met him, went out. And he said, before we start, he says, "What's your birth date?" So I told him, and he added them all up. He said, yeah, that's exactly the number that I thought it was going to add up to, and it means this. And he said to me there and then, he said, there's going to be 3 of us.
No
Not just
way.
2, there's going to be 3, and it's going to be a trifecta of 3 people. And this is what it's... Anyway, a month later, we go out with Jack, and we have this meal out in London, and get on great, and everything, you know, and then he's gone and paid the bill. And we've driven off and whatnot. I said, oh, let's split the bill. No, we've sorted it. Anyway, as I'm driving off, he sends me a message. I told you this numerology was true, didn't I? I'm like, what do you mean? He shows me the receipt. It was £333.33.
Wow, that is crazy.
In fact,
I love it.
I'm going to show it you. Just so that you believe it.
No, I do believe you.
But when you see it, it's like, no way.
Little
So
synchronicities.
underneath that, he then sort of told me, how do you get into pictures on WhatsApp, Ben?
Go on to his profile.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, have I deleted it?
No.
I might have deleted it. You see, this is what people go, oh, I'm not technical, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, that, and the other. I've not got the latest phone and stuff. I've got an iPhone 12 here, and the memory's full. Every time I try and do something, I have to delete something.
Yeah,
That's how old it is. I've not got a new one. But anyway, yeah, it was £333.33. And at about 1 o'clock in the morning, as they were about to kick us out, they said, does anybody want anything else? I went, no. I said, actually, can I get a Diet Coke? So if I'd have not got that Diet Coke, it wouldn't have been £333.33. And then he put underneath it what that means in numerology. And it was everything that he said. 3 people come together, creativity, different backgrounds, all of this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, this is weird. And he's just like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen because I've manifested this and this is what's going to happen. And I'm just like, whatever, I'll just go with the flow. £333.33.
That is crazy.
It's a fucking quite a high bill for 3 people, isn't it? No alcoholic drinks, nothing.
Wow, a lot of food.
Yeah, not that much. No, it's ridiculous. It's London though, wasn't it? So, yeah, look, I don't know. And I think being open to anything is important.
Absolutely. I think that's like an ego death as well, isn't it? I think if people are just stuck in ego, it's like constantly got to be right, got to know it all, got to be this and that. And I think breaking free of that allows you to open up and be like, I know nothing. I'm happy to learn something.
Yeah.
Happy to see both sides rather than just stuck in your own lane, focusing on what you believe.
100%. Because there's definitely more to it. There's more, we don't know. I don't know.
It's that. Have you seen that double slit experiment?
Yeah.
That shows you, doesn't it, that consciousness, having that consciousness or awareness, changes the outcome. So when it had no consciousness, no awareness, it got a different result.
It would
to what
appear
it was supposed to.
It would appear to.
Putting the consciousness back in there.
But I don't know. Yes,
like,
it would appear to. It's
like,
fascinating.
If you're in a field and you're walking on your own, does behind you still exist? How do you know? Because there's no consciousness or awareness onto it. And as soon as you turn around to look, of course, your consciousness or awareness is
that's
back
where
on
you
it.
start getting into the simulation theory, because that is so one of the most difficult things for computer game creators to do is a mirror.
Okay.
So, and the reason it's difficult for them to do a mirror, to do an accurate mirror, is because they use exactly what you've just spoken about there. So the field of view that the character or the camera has is what the computer is actually generating. Everything else is gone. And as the character moves, but in order to have a mirror, what's behind them has to be generated as well. So it has a massive load on the GPUs and CPUs. So for that to be a theory, which it's like, was it Einstein that said it? If a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, did it actually fall and make a sound? So does a sound only occur when there is something there to hear it? Yes. But so yeah, if you subscribe it to that idea, which I've toyed with a lot, then we are getting onto the lines of computer generated, and the reason it's not is because there's only so much computing power. So whatever's behind me right now is not actually there for me.
Yeah, but I can see it.
But you can see it
because my
it's there.
consciousness
Correct.
is on it. Yeah.
Which then leads you into a whole new era of that's the direction that we're going in as a civilization, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it was charged up, Tia could have had a go on it there, but I've got a virtual reality headset in there,
Okay.
the latest one, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, but it's not reality yet.
Yeah.
But give it another 500 years, and it will be.
Yeah.
Then what?
People will be sat in a room, just sat in a room being.
But once we've achieved that, it's like when they say, once the first time machine is built, it has to have always been built.
Yeah.
Because, do you understand what I mean? So once we've reached that level of being able to create realities that are indistinguishable, how do we know we're not in one now?
Absolutely. We don't do it. It's like that film. What is it?
The Matrix.
Yeah, there's that one. And also Avatar, to a degree as well.
Avatar, to a degree, yeah.
Yeah. But then there's the other film.
The latest one with Harry Styles in.
Oh, I don't know.
You've not seen it, have you?
No.
It's amazing.
What's that?
It's called Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, okay.
And it's Harry Styles and Florence Pugh.
I'm going to watch that.
And the adverts make it look like a 19, I don't know, I'm not great with dates, but maybe 40s,
Okay.
early 50s, just after the war in America, the Cadillacs and stuff like that. But it's got I won't even spoil it for you because it's
Okay.
along these lines, and it's
Okay.
an amazing film. Amazing.
That's interesting.
But yeah, there's a few of them, isn't there? That
But then that takes us back to the conspiracies and stuff of everything being in plain sight as well. Because they say they say that they have to tell you their intentions in order for them not to get
well,
bad karma.
that's going down the satanic routes, isn't it? And
Well,
the
is it not all
devil
connected?
worship. I don't know. Here's one for you then. Did you know Satan is never mentioned in the Bible?
Yes.
You did know this?
Yes, I did. Well, only because it's something that I have recently started looking at. Because I've looked at lots of conspiracies, and obviously the Bible is a conspiracy. And people have asked me about it, and I'm like, well, actually, I don't know. I can't say that I do or don't believe it, because it's not something I've ever actually looked
No,
at.
of course.
And then, but then is that a man-made thing?
So in the Bible, it only ever says the word shaitan, and what that means adversary or somebody that is opposing something.
Okay.
And so it never mentions anything to do with Satan being this sort of whatever it is, the Antichrist or whatever. And again, it's just through hearsay and storytelling and films and things like that actually we get to a point where you speak to anybody now and they go, yeah, there's the devil and his name is Satan and da, 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 da. But actually, if you go back to the original, there was never a mention of Satan as being this. That was just always used in the context of somebody being against something, your adversary.
Okay.
So the Labour leader would be the shaitan to the Conservative leader because they were opposing views and opposing ideas and thoughts.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so there's lots of things like that, and it's just and this is what brings me back to being quite level-headed sometimes. There will have been people that have violently abused one another over the fact that Satan's real or Satan's not.
Yeah.
When the reality of it is, even in the Bible, it doesn't ever mention that. So people have got their wires crossed.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they've got such a firm belief in this and such a firm belief in this that they're actually going to start whatever.
Yeah.
And you think you have to have that logical sense, that critical thinking ability before you make decisions that are going to alter how you're going to live your life or you're going to do this. And, it's why I don't get involved in any of the stuff that's going on at the minute in Israel.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
I do not know enough about it. If I sat here for the length of time that you and I have done now with somebody that was pro-Israel, I would probably believe all of that and be pro-Israel.
Yeah.
But equally, if I sat with somebody that was pro-Palestine and told me all of the stuff that they knew, I would be pro-Palestine.
Yeah.
So what that means is I don't know enough about it. All I know is in 2023, we should not still be killing each other.
Yeah, 100%. But then when you ask the people that, they all agree. Well, the majority of people agree.
Yes.
So why does it happen? Because the governments tell people to.
I don't know if governments are telling people to kill each other.
They're bringing in armies and stuff. They're just doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's something genetic. We just kill, don't we?
Yeah. But then that's
We're tribal and we kill.
Yeah, when you go back through history.
That's all we've ever done.
Victorians were horrible, weren't they?
Yeah, horrible. And, before that was horrible. And the Roman Empire was horrible. And the Ottoman Empire was horrible.
Yeah.
It just seems to be something that we do. But you would have imagined that... Imagine if someone in the Battle of Hastings, so the Normans coming over 1066, got in a time machine and came to 2023 and just saw everything that we'd got and we'd achieved. They would assume that we'd stopped killing each other and wars. Yeah. You guys are so advanced, you will have definitely figured out a way to... There can't be any... But no, we haven't.
Yeah, no.
We've got all of this, and we've got medicine, and we've got, economies and things like that, but yet we're still killing each other.
Yeah.
Over things like land.
Absolutely.
Over things like belief systems.
Yeah.
It isn't anybody's. It's all of ours.
It is, yeah, 100%.
But then again, you go back to what I was saying before. If you were going to design a world, would you have one that just allowed anybody and everybody to go wherever they want and do whatever they want whenever they want? Or does there has to be some sort of system in place, like borders, because otherwise everybody would all be in the same place,
There wouldn't be
and then they'd all be
cultures.
fighting. And
Is that what's happened here in
I don't
the UK?
know.
Because we don't have our own heritage anymore. Like, even as it's St George's Day, that's not celebrated like it should be.
No, but I do believe that any societal issue is a pendulum. So, and it swings too far one way, and then it corrects and swings a little bit too far the other way, and eventually, it does settle down. So, you go back and talk to our parents 50 years ago, highly racist.
Yeah.
Highly, highly racist. We could all agree now that that was the pendulum too far one way.
Yeah.
Now, as the pendulum's swinging and everything's becoming more equal and this and that and the other, some people may argue it's gone too far the other way.
Yeah.
Things like you've just said. But then we'll have a correction. And we're starting to see this.
Yeah.
It's starting to correct, and then it will go, and then it will go, and then eventually it will settle at the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And I think it's difficult when you're sat in the middle of this pendulum swing. But 100 years down the line, we look at, you just need to look at some of the old cartoons from the 1940s and 1930s, and you watch them and you're like, I cannot believe how racist, anti-Semitic, government propaganda was in these cartoons.
Yeah.
We would never do it now, but we're 100 years on.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was okay, and then it wasn't okay. And you're like, so I do think with all of these things, it's like this identity stuff at the minute. I think we can all agree that everybody should be able to do what they want and live the way they are.
Absolutely.
It's just been taken to the next stage where all of a sudden we can't agree on who uses what toilet and this and that and the other. It will swing the other way, and then it will come back, and then it will come back, and eventually I think we will get there. The problem is, how many people are going to die in the process?
Yeah.
That's the...
And then they're taking it into schools and things. I don't agree with. Not from a young age. Only from my experience, as I was quite a tomboy when I was younger. So when I was younger, if somebody had said to me, that's because you should be in a boy's body, then I would probably have believed it.
Correct.
And maybe I would have taken hormone blockers and whatever else.
Yep.
And then I'd be like, wow. Now, because I've seen a few people say that now who were biologically born a woman and transitioned to a man because that's what they believed they should be, and now they regret it, but there's nothing they can do about it because they've got to keep taking these hormone blockers for life. And so why is it pushed onto children at such young age? Like I said, if that had been pushed onto me at a young age, maybe then I would probably
Yes.
have thought,
Yes.
I'm in the wrong body, I wouldn't have a child now.
Or even just a lot of lesbian or gays
Yeah,
would have been transitioned. And actually, no. I was just a lesbian.
Absolutely.
Or I was just gay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to live my life as a lesbian woman. And that's absolutely, what I needed to. Instead, but then again, are we just seeing these news articles where this is being pushed on people like this? Or is it just a few cases of it? I don't know.
But why put it in schools though? Like why even give young children with young impressionable minds? Why even start putting that into their thoughts? Same with sex education.
Because
why
the
so young?
pendulum has started to swing too far to this liberal, everybody's got a right to this and that and the other, and that's the narrative at the minute. And there will be kickback, and there is kickback, and then it will go a little, and eventually it has to go too far one way to then come back the other way.
But then, like in the school that Tia's just started, there is a toilet that is for anybody.
Yes.
And I don't agree with that. Simply because, another thing is she's going to the same school that I used to go to, so I know that there used to be 2 separate toilets. So why knock it into one big one when you've got the girls actually saying that they're not comfortable in there? They've got boys trying to do things whilst they're using on the periods and stuff like that. And then we had the parents did a massive thing about it. All the parents were so against it, and the school didn't listen and still put it in because they were just doing as they were told to do. But then everyone that's there don't want it, but they haven't got that choice now. It was taken away from them. Like the majority spoke, and they went completely against them anyway.
Come back to the money and the funding.
Yeah, that's it.
If the people that are funding and giving the money out are pushing a narrative,
Yeah.
everybody falls in place.
Yeah.
And
it's wrong.
It is. Is the toilet still there?
Yeah.
I mean,
But now-
my daughter's school changed to it, and I tell you what, if there'd have been same-sex toilets when I was at school, it would have definitely prevented a lot of bullying. It would have definitely prevented a lot of damage done to the toilets by silly boys smashing the toilets and stuff like that. So probably in a roundabout way, it's helped a lot of issues that used to be there, but it's caused another one.
Yeah. So I went to an all-girls school, so we had that anyway.
Yes.
In the girls' school,
Disgusting.
we had girls being little shits.
Shit on the mirrors and stuff like that.
Literally.
It was like we were having an assembly every week, and then you think to yourself, who does that?
Yeah.
But you're in a little closed room. You nip out, and for whatever reason. So these open plan toilets where you obviously have your own cubicle.
But the other thing with that toilet is the whole wall goes straight into the hallway, and it's just a big glass mirror. Not glass, sorry. Yeah, glass,
glass
not a
mirror.
mirror. It's not a mirror, sorry. It's not a mirror. It's just a glass window. Just a big glass window. So the children haven't even got privacy in the toilet because there's a big glass window.
Yeah.
But now they have put girls' signs, boys' signs, and neutral signs. They
So
have
the
done that.
pendulum swings back a little
Yeah,
bit.
you're right, actually.
And then maybe in a year's time, they've made that a one-way mirror.
Yeah.
And until we reach this point where, the aeroplane that you and I would get on to go to Turkey tomorrow isn't the same aeroplane from 50 years ago.
Yeah.
There had to be a lot of crashes,
Yeah.
a lot of deaths, a lot of money spent for it to get there. But it got there. But it gets there by shit and crap and good things and regression and then progression, and eventually we get somewhere, and it's like, I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
I think we'll get there.
Positivity.
I think we'll get there. I think we will. I think we're designed to make things better
Yeah.
and sell more things.
Yeah.
That's what we do, don't we? Make money and make things better. And we make things better to make more money. And we make more money to buy the things that we've made better. And it's just this continual cycle. And I think we'll get there. I do think we'll get there. So, toilet break. Tia had a cookie, but not just then. We were just talking about autism and stuff, weren't we? And how we think we're probably both on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting one because. So you're going to be one of these people that. Do you think there's more autism now than ever has been before, or do you think we just diagnose it better?
I was going to say, is it just that we've diagnosed it better now? I'm not sure on that one, because there are lots of people that say it's caused by different things, such as all your heavy metals and whatever else. So actually, think about it when I was saying it out loud. Maybe it has always been there and it's not triggered. Oh, maybe it's not actually triggered by anything because I've done all my detoxes and healed from fibro and all that lot, and it's not affected my tendencies or my personality or the way I am. So maybe it is just the way you are.
Do you think it's once it's set in, it's set in? You can't cure
Maybe.
it, can you?
Yeah, because it's like a personality trait, I suppose, isn't it? Because it's how your life, how you do things.
Yeah.
Good question.
And I think that if you looked back in the day and somebody said they were autistic, it was just the most severe cases that you would say, yes, we can see that they're autistic. But now, it's like I was just saying to you then, I'm pretty sure I'm slightly on the spectrum, but you would never label or put the two together. Just when you see someone with severe autism or something like that. So it's just this spectrum, and I think now it's all just been lumped into one.
Yeah.
Yet you can have somebody that's like 0.01% on the spectrum and somebody that's 99.9%. It's not quite the same.
No, totally.
But I think it's a superpower.
Yeah.
Like we were just talking about in the break there. I'm sure I've got ADHD. And that allows me to be amazingly focused and consumed with something. But then on the flip side, I guess it's the same thing. I can be consumed with doing nothing.
Yeah.
And thinking about nothing and just doing nothing. Not even just sitting watching TV, just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Not sleeping, nothing, just nothing.
Is that a human being? That's what it's supposed to do, though, isn't it? Human beings is supposed to be just being. Not human doing. We're human doings now. We do everything all the time. We never sit and just be. So maybe it's a good thing.
But it doesn't feel good.
Do you feel guilt, though?
Yes.
But is that because you think you should be doing something? You should be constantly busy. You should be, because that's what we're told.
I don't know. I could have sat on my sofa all day today, and then at 10 o'clock tonight, I look back and I'd much rather have done all of this today. And I'll look back at 10 o'clock tonight, I'll be like, oh, that was an amazing conversation there, and we did this and we sorted that. And there's a sense of achievement where, is there a sense of achievement with doing nothing? Maybe. I don't know.
Or just guilt.
Or just guilt. I was saying to my brother, the first time in my life that I can remember that I didn't feel guilty for doing nothing was during COVID lockdown.
Okay.
Why
is that?
Because
you're allowed to then.
Because there was nothing that you could do.
Yeah.
There was nothing that you could do. It wasn't that you were allowed to do it. There was nothing that you could do. There was no going to work. There was no having to pick people up. There was no arranging to do this. It was just, when you've done a long haul flight and you sit there and you kind of, I've got 10 hours on here. And your brain goes into kind of a different mode, doesn't it? It doesn't become agitated. It's just almost vegetative. That's how I felt during COVID. Yeah. Just like the time didn't matter. I woke up when I woke up. I ate when I ate. I went to the toilet when I went to the toilet, and I went to sleep when I wanted to. And everything else was just meh.
Yeah.
But it kind of was good.
Yeah. But is that what we're supposed to be? Like, before we were in the kind of work till 9 to 5 and do all these things, people were more chilled, weren't they? They had more time to just be. You didn't have to constantly be doing.
But how long could you do that for?
Probably not long.
Was it just the honeymoon period?
Well, even during COVID, I was doing different courses. So I was doing...
So you were doing...
Yeah, I was.
But you were doing things that you wanted to do.
Yes.
And I think that's the key, isn't it? Because I think most people would probably go and do some sort of work for a couple of hours a day.
Yeah.
But then they would also be doing the things that, they would. So we just briefly spoke when you had a drink and whatnot. You said you're vegan and I said I'm vegetarian. Aren't I, Ben? Yeah. Even though we fell off the wagon a little bit just the other day, just once. And I just was vegan during COVID just because it was something to do.
Okay.
And cooking different things and learning different things. I just didn't find I could eat quite enough protein. So I went on to eggs and a bit of milk and dairy, but nothing major. But again, it was okay to cook food because you had nothing else to do. But now our lives are so busy, we're doing other things, nobody cooks anymore.
Yeah. And that's is that connected to other rising disease?
Probably.
Disease?
Yeah,
Because
probably.
we're not cooking from scratch. We're
Probably.
cooking with all the
Yeah,
chemicals. And
for sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be... It's not zero effect, is it?
No.
It definitely is.
Well, they say food is medicine. We are what you eat. Is it for a reason? Is that why they say it?
Probably.
For me personally, I do hugely believe that food is medicine because I feel it myself. I know what I've eaten when I've eaten it because your body tells you.
100%. But we don't grow any food. You know, I was saying to someone the other day, you know, if World War III did happen and we had to go back to growing our own food, I don't know how to grow food.
Yeah.
I've got no idea. I don't know what a tomato seed looks like
Yeah.
and how deep you put it in. And I have no idea. So we'd have to go back to learning all that again.
Yeah. See, I've been growing my own and I've put my name down to try and get an allotment.
Have you?
Yeah.
It'd be
I'm
amazing,
third on the
I
list.
think. But would it be amazing the same as the thought of having a dog would be amazing? And then the actual is shit. Because the thought of these things is amazing, you know, this lovely allotment and I'm going to go down. Because my mum and dad used to have a greenhouse. And honestly, the food that came out of there tasted better than any food you've ever had before. The broccoli or the sugar snap peas and things like that. But I don't know if I could be arsed doing it.
That's it then. You've got to be enjoyable for you, hasn't it?
It's...
So I find it enjoying. I enjoy these kind of things. I like planting and I like moving. It's at the end as well when you pick it and it's like, I've grown that, right? From the tiny little seed to now eating that.
Is that a female trait?
Maybe.
Is that a female trait?
Could be.
That
is that nurturer,
yes.
isn't it? That's the feminine energy. That's
because I'd much rather smash something up and destroy something and chop something down and build something, you know, out of the wood. I couldn't be arsed with planting seeds and...
There you go.
I'd like to eat it, though.
Yeah. Or
So,
build the workbench to put it on.
Yes.
But then that's that balance then, isn't it? That's that masculine, feminine.
Yeah. Which people are knocking out of us, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Light gone off.
Yeah, it's not light.
It was the plug last time you touched the plug.
I mean like that light on.
Oh, that's better.
I got the sunlight.
Nice.
It's worse. Oh.
Got the sunlight.
We were sitting somewhere the other day and he said, the sun's just casting a shadow onto your face and it almost looks like artificial intelligence. And he took a photo of it. It was just a normal photo. You weirdo. Totally weird. Can't you remember when we were the other day?
I consider like...
You look like AI. So where's AI going then, Charlotte?
Wow, that's another good question. Are we AI?
No, because I'm not intelligent. You see, the thing is, I think we should take the A out of it because it's not artificial, is it? Once it's intelligence, it's intelligence.
Yeah. Is it artificial though? Because it's man-made, like artificial foods.
I think that's probably...
It's man-made.
Yeah.
But then is it man-made?
But you're man-made. And so am I, man and woman-made. But
from nature. Naturally made. But then is that...
I do think it's... Have you got ChatGPT?
No.
So watch this. I mean, this is... So before COVID, I taught myself to draw.
Oh, okay.
And I'm really good. And I don't blow my trumpet about things very often. But I got really good at drawing. I used to sell drawings to people, like really, really good. And it took me hours and hours and hours and hours to learn to draw something. But then, watch this. Make me a picture of a dark-haired man and a blonde-haired woman sat in a podcast studio called the Pure Waffle Podcast.
Is it crazy?
Yeah. So I've literally just spoken into ChatGPT, and that's the one that we pay for now.
Okay.
So this is now... So what it's going to come up with now has never been drawn before. It's one of a kind, and it's just from me speaking to it. And then you can tweak it and do whatever you want with it. So it's nearly done.
So like that, as fast as that as well? Blimey.
There you go. I'll send you that.
Okay.
So that is...
Wow. That's crazy, isn't it? How
Crazy.
fast that's put
Crazy.
it together.
So then you could go into that and you could say, okay, change the lighting from moody to more photorealistic, and it'll change just that. Or you can put, make the girl's hair a little bit lighter, or make the man's bit, and it will just do that for you instantly.
Yeah.
Or you could say, now turn that into make it into a sketch by Leonardo da Vinci, and it will use the same art style and things like that. So you're thinking to yourself, why does anybody need to go to art college now and learn to do art?
I was literally about to say that. Is that taking over another human job?
Yes.
But then hopefully it won't, as in art is therapeutic and enjoyable for some people, isn't it? So hopefully those people would keep that streak anyway, hopefully. But then would it stop people buying art if they can just do that themselves?
Or will it make the actual art done by you or I far more valuable?
Yeah.
Because
so that could be a positive.
So yes, but in terms of wanting to come up with a quick picture or something for this or whatever, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I was talking to a young lad who I teach at tennis. He's 17, coming up to 18, and he's going to Cambridge University, or he wants to, and he wants to study law. And I said to him yesterday, I said, your job's going to be obsolete in 5 years. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, think about what a lawyer does. So a lawyer has a client that they're either trying to defend or somebody that they're trying to accuse, and they will go through books written 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago to find cases where something similar has happened and putting this argument and that argument forwards.
Yeah.
Why do you need to do that when you just go to ChatGPT and it tells you exactly it instantly?
Yeah. But then is that going to have all of that information?
It's already got it.
As
Yes.
So someone sat there and put it all in?
Everything that's ever been written by human beings is there right now on the internet, and it will scour it for you.
That's quite crazy then.
There, instantly. Crazy.
But then that takes away the work for children at school and things as well, really, because they can say, do an essay on this, and then they can just type in there, I want an essay on this, and
Yes.
just do it for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a little bit crazy.
But yeah. So where is it going? Is that intelligence, or is that just a prompt at the moment? And where's it going to go?
Well, have you seen, do you mean as in all the cameras in China and things like that? Because that's a bit...
I mean, once that wakes up and realises it doesn't need us, then what?
Yeah. Is that going to be like that? All the films?
Is that where we're destined to go?
Yeah.
Is that what human beings are designed to do? Make things better, create an intelligence that then realises, don't need you anymore. And then that travels the vastness of space, and I don't know.
Is that what humans did? Is that why we are here now?
Possibly.
Yeah. Natural evolution.
It's
Evolution.
Yeah, but it's crazy, and they're just the things that we've got access to right now. They're working on things far more advanced than that, aren't
Absolutely.
they? You're going to have a situation in less than a decade where you say, write me a business plan, social media marketing platform, build me the website, all of this for a business that is going to produce X amount of money in the heart of England doing X, Y, Z, and it'll just go, do it all for you.
Yeah.
Business plans, websites, codes for you now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you could, so people going into university now, learning computer science and how to code, you ain't going to need to do that in 10 years' time because you almost don't need it now.
And what is there going to be left for us to do? Because we've already got the supermarkets, we've already got rid of loads of cashiers, so it's all just the self-service things, which I always try and avoid. I always try and go for a person, just because for two reasons really, because you want to keep jobs for people, and also it's that communication as well, isn't it? Having an actual person.
Yes.
The personable.
Well, they're going to have to give us a universal basic income, aren't they?
Is this then going to go into
CBDCs?
The New World Order? Because that's their plan. That's their long-term goal, from what you can find on their websites and things. Then that then takes us back to how it is in China then, isn't it?
But we're already controlled.
Oh, yeah.
We're already controlled.
But not to that extent. At the moment, we still have some kind of freedom. As in, during, like you said, back to the COVID thing, you had the option at that time, whether you had the vaccine or not. is it going to be to the point where if you don't have it, because they did try and say, if you don't have it, you won't go into supermarkets.
Yeah, 100%.
And people, but I found it quite scary how many people were actually up for that, and it didn't remind them of history, where you have to show your paperwork to get to a certain point. It didn't remind people of that, so are people not learning from history?
No, we don't.
That's it.
No, going back to the Auschwitz thing, you know,
Yeah.
when we went there and you watch it, you're looking at all the stuff and you're thinking, this was in almost my lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, there were cars and there were computers and there was society as we know it.
Yeah.
And they were doing these things to each other. And we think we're so clever now, we've evolved so much, but actually all of that pandemic just taught us that it wouldn't have been a huge leap to say the non-vaccinated or the vaccinated would have ended up fighting and killing each other.
I had that experience. So my auntie and my cousin stopped inviting me to things because I wasn't vaccinated. So like for my nan's birthday, normally the whole family gets together, whereas my cousin arranged it and didn't invite me. And then my auntie does Halloween parties. She arranged it, didn't invite me. Then it came to my nan was doing a New Year's Day, and my nan, obviously my nan had never had the issue, so my nan was like, invited me. Then my auntie and cousin refused to come to my nan's because I was there. And now they don't speak to me at all because my cousin was young, fit and healthy, didn't smoke, didn't drink, went to the gym, didn't eat gluten. She had a stroke just after her second vaccine. And I said, even though we weren't talking, but I said to my nan, I was like, well, seems to be a common thing. So because I said that, now I'm like, I'm the demon. So I'm even more. But I thought that was pretty scary, though. The fact that how they go from being this big, happy family. And
that's your own family.
Yeah. And now, well, even then, before I'd even said that, they'd already stopped inviting me because I hadn't had the vaccine. And that's like, it's crazy. And initially, another thing that I found is like this, my dad's side of the family, it's my dad's side. So like this Halloween, she had another party and she invited my dad and my brother, even though my brother's not vaccinated, but she's now okay with him. So they all got invited to her party. So they all went to the party and they're all like, oh, it's a shame you weren't there. I was like, but you've kind of enabled her and you've allowed her and said that that's okay for her to do that because you've all still gone. I wasn't expecting no one not to go, but I was just saying like, because you did go, she now has that, it's okay for me to keep doing this.
Yes.
So what will be the next thing?
I don't think they'll be able to do it again.
Yeah, I hope not.
I don't think they'll be able to do it again. I had my first two.
Yeah.
And the only reason I had my first two was because I was working in schools. And although they didn't stipulate you had to have it done.
There was a lot of pressure on, wasn't there?
There was a lot of pressure. And I was just I guess I was just pretty blasé about it.
Yeah.
My brother and his wife were totally against it.
Yeah.
And I had the first booster because we wanted to go on holiday as well. And won't ever have any more now. That's it. I'm done. I think the cat's out the bag with that one, and I don't think they're going to be able to fool anybody again.
It's surprising how many are still having it though, and how many people have started putting masks on again.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few.
Yeah.
Yes, but never to the extent.
Oh, yeah.
Never to the extent.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more, like you said, that have looked in or questioned it or at least thought more of it.
I think the most vocal, if it happened again, will be the people that feel like they were duped.
Yeah.
Not the people like you guys that were on the front line saying no straight away. The people like me that went, do you know what? I went along with your bullshit for so long.
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah.
That's it now. And I think that will be the decisive factor, because the people that didn't get it done were always there.
Yeah.
And always on that side. But the people that went along with it, and now all the stuff that's coming out, it's like, it was absolute lies that were being told.
It was
in
trickery,
certain
isn't
things.
it?
It was.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be able to do it again.
That's good. Good to hear from somebody else's point of view.
But that doesn't mean that they won't be able to do something else.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a war or something. But it's I like the 80-20 rule. I'm going to spend only 20% of my thoughts thinking about stuff like that, because I can't control it. I can't control it.
Yeah.
What can I spend my 80% of the time thinking about? How can I do this? How can I be better at that? How can I learn this? How can I earn more money? How can whatever?
Yeah. I think that's where I'm at now. At one point, I was consumed by it.
It does consume you. It does consume you. It really, really does. You know, and like I say, I've been down every rabbit hole that was there. You know, the Pizzagate stuff, the John Podesta and all the Madeleine McCann and everything, because I'm just interested in everything. Yeah. And you can very quickly get into an echo chamber where you believe that everybody thinks that like that. Yeah. So it must be true. Everybody thinks like that. When the reality of it is, it's only that small amount of people that do. And it's nice to go into a different echo chamber, because do you ever go on Twitter?
No, I don't have Twitter.
So Twitter's another echo chamber, but it's almost the opposite of TikTok.
Oh, okay.
So you've got a lot of people on there that, you know, are very pro-vaccine and very pro-government and things like that. But again, it's just another echo. You just look at it and it's just the same people talking about the same thing. So you've got that, and then you've got TikTok, and they're both the same, but just different sides of the coin.
That's probably quite good then, because
it is good because you've got real balance then. You know, because
yin and yang, isn't
that
it?
looks really, really intriguing and like, yeah, that's definitely true. And then you go on there and you've got the total opposite, and you're like, hang on a second, you can't both be right. So what it probably means is neither of you are right and neither of you are 100% wrong. It's a little bit of both. Yeah. And sometimes it's more than others. Yeah.
That's balance of life though, isn't it? Same with anything.
Yeah, I think so. And my tummy is now telling me that I need to go and eat something, because we've done now 3 hours, Charlotte.
Wow.
And Nottingham Forest are also beating Brighton.
Oh, no. Yes. My dad's going to be good.
Your dad's put Brighton and Forest. Come on. So what's your TikTok account so everybody can go and follow?
Heal_holistically.
Heal_holistic. We'll try and put that on pinned comments or something like that. Anything else? Any other social media? Anything you're on? Insta?
I am, but I haven't been using
active.
that yet. No,
okay.
I do intend to going forwards.
Yeah.
It's just TikTok at the moment.
Any products you're pushing? No? Talk about no?
Well, I've got my online programs from helping people with fibro. So I help people with fibromyalgia.
So what's that? Is that linked to your TikTok?
Yes.
Is that a website?
You can see it on there. I've got a website that is linked to TikTok. Wellness Wagon.
The Wellness Wagon?
Yeah. .co.uk.
Just Wellness Wagon?
Yeah.
Or the...
No, Wellness Wagon. So I converted a van into a camper when I was homeschooling.
Did you?
I was working. That's why I've got that big van.
Oh, you're going to need to come back on then. We're going to need to talk about that. Wow. Wellnesswagon.co.uk.
Yeah. So I was working from the van. So that was my Wellness Wagon, which is where that came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I converted it all myself.
We'll have to get a little sign or something up in there with it all on there. That's amazing. Oh, wowzers.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's cool.
Well, if we had another 3 hours, then we'll talk about it. But look, more than welcome. Come on again anytime.
Awesome.
It's been a real pleasure.
Likewise.
I don't know if you've changed my mind on anything yet. Next time.
Got to be open to stuff, haven't you? That's it.
Absolutely.
Holistic healing.
Holistic healing.
Yes.
Good. Perfecto. Clap
Thank
or
you.
no? No. Calm. Done.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.